land shows you glory, tells of who you are. It's the love of the Maker, shaping who we are. Because you hold the world inside of your hands, you can move mountains at your command. You hold the world inside of your hands, you can move mountains at your command. God of glory, you are wonderful, wonderful. Christ the mighty King of all the universe. You are holy, you are powerful, powerful. Lift our praises to the God of all, God of all, God of all the earth. God of all the earth. Lift our praises to the God of all, God of all, God of all the earth. You hold the world up, so we lift your praise up. You hold the world up, so we lift your praise up. You hold the world up, so we lift your praise up. You hold the world up, so we lift your praise up. God of glory, you are wonderful, wonderful. Christ the mighty King of all the universe. You are holy, you are powerful, powerful. Lift our praises to the God of all, God of all, God of all the earth. God of all the earth. God of all the earth. Lift our praises to the God of all, God of all, God of all the earth. Lift our praises to the God of all, God of all, God of all the earth.
I spent so many summers trying to fit in, looking for some meaning in anything. I was feeling empty, Jesus, then you met me, you called my name. Burning like a fire, I just can't deny it, I found my place. Here with you, I'm right where I belong. Here with you, I'll never be alone.
When I look back, I can see your hand all over my past. Even in the times I'd rather forget, I just can't believe you'd love me like that, love me like that. You never let go. Thought I was alone, now I know you were close. I can see it now, you were bringing me home. I just can't believe you'd love me like that, love me like that. Oh, every day gets better when I'm walking with you. Oh, you're my hope forever, what a beautiful view. I will give you praise for the things you've done, and every single way that you've shown me love. God, you have only just begun. So come on, there's so much better to come. So much better to come. So much better to come. When I look back, I can see your hand all over my past. Even in the times I'd rather forget, I just can't believe you'd love me like that, love me like that. You never let go. Thought I was alone, now I know you were close. I can see it now, you were bringing me home. I just can't believe you'd love me like that, love me like that. Oh, every day gets better when I'm walking with you. Oh, you're my hope forever, what a beautiful view. I will give you praise for the things you've done, and every single way that you've shown me love. God, you have only just begun. So come on, there's so much better to come. So much better to come. So much better to come. You never left me. You always helped me. Got through the fire. I find my strength when I'm walking beside you. You never left me. You always helped me. Got through the fire. I find my strength when I'm walking beside you. I will give you praise for the things you've done, and every single way that you've shown me love. God, you have only just begun. So come on, there's so much better to come. So much better to
I'm so grateful for your patience, all the ways you carry me. You have always left a light on, so I can see. You wait for me.
I'm invited to the table. You are saving me a seat. In your house, I know I'm worthy, 'cause you died for me. You set me free.
No matter where I run, grace will follow. The Father's love is all I know. I never need to doubt that you want me. You are standing here saying, welcome home. Welcome home. No matter where I run, grace will follow. The Father's love is all I know. I never need to doubt that you want me. You are standing here saying, welcome home.
I'm so thankful for your kindness. Your forgiveness when I'm weak. With open arms I am accepted, 'cause you run to me, you cover me. I forever run toward the one who calls me home. Everything I'm longing for is in you. You have
everyone. Welcome to Church at Home. It's so good to be here with you this morning. And if you're joining us for the first time, a special welcome. We love meeting new friends here, so let us know that you're here by saying hi in the comments because we'd love to have a chat and get to know you. We are a very friendly bunch here and we do love building community in all sorts of different ways. And if you'd like to get involved or get to know some people and you're in the area, we've got so many different ways you can get involved. We have life groups that happen all over the place in people's homes throughout the week. We have our active ministry where you can move with us in heaps of different ways. We have a play group for young families to just connect and hang out and so much more. So you can check it all out at our app or you can get involved by clicking connect with us at the link. And while you're at the link or the app, maybe have a think about how we can be praying for you this week. We absolutely love supporting each other in that way because we believe in a God who listens and leans in, who cares about what's going on in our lives and wants to be present in it all. The big stuff, the small stuff, the good and the bad. So let us know how we can support you through prayer. Hey, I read a verse this week and I just loved it. It says, let giving flow from your heart, not from a sense of religious duty. Let it spring up freely from the joy of giving, all because God loves hilarious generosity. Now, I love this translation, the idea of hilarious generosity, that you can be so generous that it seems ridiculous. But I can tell you from experience that when you give, you cannot ever outgive God. And when you give hilariously or ridiculously and live from that sort of generosity, that it brings not only joy to you, but to the people that you're blessing. So if you'd like to give this morning, you can do that via the details or hit the heart on our app. And maybe you'll have a good giggle if you're being hilariously generous. Today we continue our So I've Always Wanted to Ask series, and I'm very excited because our good pal Jacob is here starting the discussion around how can we believe in miracles and science. Now, this is just the most perfect topic for Jacob and I cannot wait. Just as long as he doesn't get stuck in a big loop talking about space, I think he's going to absolutely nail it. So I'm definitely missing him here with us, but don't worry, you're going to get your Jacob fix very soon. But first, let's worship.
We worship the God who is. We worship the God who evermore will be. He opened the prison doors. He parted the raging sea. My God, He holds a victory. Yeah. There's joy in the house of the Lord. There's joy in the house of the Lord today. We won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. There's joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is surely in this place. And we won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. Oh, oh, oh. We shout out your praise. Come on, we sing. We sing to the God who heals. We sing to the God who saves. We sing to the God who always makes a way. 'Cause He hung up on that cross and He rose up from that grave. My God, still rolling stones away. Yeah, there's joy in the house of the Lord. There's joy in the house of the Lord today. And we won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. There's joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is surely in this place. We won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. We were the beggars, and now we're royalty. We were the prisoners, and now we're running free. We are forgiven, accepted, redeemed by His grace. Let the house of the Lord sing praise. We were the beggars, now we're royalty. We were the prisoners, now we're running free. We are forgiven, accepted, today, and we won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. There's joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is surely in this place, and we won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. There's joy in the house of the Lord. There's joy in the house of the Lord today. We won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. There's joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is surely in this place. We won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. Shout out your praise. And there is joy in this house, oh Lord. We shout out your praise. We shout out your praise. When I look back, I can see your hand all over my past. Even in the times I'd rather forget, I just can't believe you'd love me like that, love me like that. And never let go. Thought I was alone, now I know you were close. I can see it now, you were bringing me home. And I just can't believe you'd love me like that, love me like that. Oh, every day gets better when I'm walking with you. Oh, you're my hope forever. What a beautiful view. I will give you praise for the things you've done, and every single way that you show me love. God, you have only just begun. So come on, come on, there's so much better to come. Ooh, 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 so much better to come. Ooh, ooh, ooh. When I look back, I can see your hand all over my past. Even in the times I would rather forget, I just can't believe you'd love me like that, love me like that. You never let go. You thought I was alone, now I know you were close. I can see it now, you were bringing me home. And I just can't believe you'd love me like that, love me like that. And oh, every day gets better when I'm walking with you. Oh, you're my hope forever. What a beautiful view. I will give you praise for the things you've done, and every single way that you show me love. God, you have only just begun. So come on, come on, there's so much better to come. Ooh, 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 so much better to come. Ooh, 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 so you never left me. Whoa, you always helped me. Whoa, got through the fire. Whoa, I find my strength when I'm walking beside you. You never left me. Whoa, you always helped me. Whoa, got through the fire. Whoa, I find my strength when I'm walking beside you. And I will give you praise for the things you've done, and every single way that you show me love. God, you have only just begun. So come on, come on, you're so much better. I will give you praise for the things you've done, and every single way that you show me love. God, you have only just begun. So come on, there's so much better to come. Ooh, 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 so much
This is exciting.
In this age of scientific truth, how can you believe that Jesus could calm a storm or heal a blind man?
Okay, that's a good question.
I don't know enough about science.
I wish I had seen it though.
I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it. Yeah. What do you think?
I think, when I look at that questioning,
Yeah.
that for me, Jesus is out and above and beyond science.
Because Jesus is Jesus. Right?
Yep.
He created science. He created the law of gravity, created the law of physics. So if Jesus is the Son of God, why wouldn't he be able to calm a storm or heal a blind man?
Yeah, I think in this age we do struggle thinking that people can do that. But miracles happen every day, I think.
I have experienced miracles and been a witness to that in my life. So I have no question about whether miracles can happen and whether miracles are real. The scientific backing for that is probably a separate question.
There's so many scientific elements to it, but you know, it becomes a miracle when Jesus is a part of it.
Yeah. Scientifically, I had a kidney transplant, but there were so many miracles that happened along the way that changed the course of what happened. Yeah.
Okay, so you want me to think that the creator of the universe couldn't stop a storm?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah. Who wouldn't believe that?
Yeah. Let's take the creator of everything and just give him parameters. Oh, you can do this, but you can't do that. Yeah.
No. Okay.
Good morning, church. I've got my coffee here, ready for our chat. I'm excited to be on this side of the worship instead of usually I'm on the other side. And you thought you could get away from me, and here I am. I got super sunburned this week, so just ignore the face blisters. But I'm so excited. Today we're in our 4th week. I can't believe how quickly this has gone. We're in our 4th week of our series on questions about Jesus. And today I am excited to get to chat to you guys about miracles. Now, already, when I say miracles, something's probably already popped into your head. And you might be thinking maybe something like one of those classic stories in the Bible where God does some unimaginable thing. Like that might be like blind people being able to see, you know, the old mud in the eyes trick, or seas being parted, or the classic dead coming back to life. Not only Jesus, which we're all familiar with, but all, you know, that's happened in other cases as well. Some of you, when I say we're talking about miracles, maybe you're thinking of miracles that have happened in your own life. Something that's you thought, I can't believe that this has happened, or something that your family member or friend has experienced. And that might be the first thing that jumps into your mind. And other of you, when I say miracles, your first thought is, well, it sounds a little bit far-fetched for me. Now, all of you are right, because miracles, by definition, are unimaginable. They're rare. They are far-fetched. And if they weren't hard to believe, they would be ordinary and they would lack any sort of divine purpose. And when I think about miracles, funnily enough, I think all the way back to the beginning. It says, in the beginning, God created everything. Then verse 31 of Genesis says, and God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. Genesis 1. God handcrafted and set into motion the most magnificent and awe-inspiring universe and all of the natural laws that are a part of it. And he called those very good. He doesn't need to reach in and change those laws because he created, the laws that he created. He doesn't change those very often because they're already good. So when he has and when he does, it's to grab people's attention. It's to make us listen in and to see what God is doing and to hear the message that he is giving. It's always for a very particular purpose when God brings about miracles in our world. Let's talk about them. So, can miracles exist in a world of science? Now, if you've seen me on the screen before, you know I love talking about science. Every week I'm talking about space and talking about weird natural things that happen. I'm a big fan of science. And in a world of science, miracles, unfortunately, are quickly named either unexplainable or impossible. But funnily enough, these are both sort of true. That the explanation of miracles is that there is a divine God that orchestrates and uses them. They're seemingly impossible feats. Miracles is, you look at them and you think that can't possibly happen. But again, that's exactly why we call them miracles, because they shouldn't be possible. That's by definition, they need to be rare and unexplainable. And so it's not fair for us to punish miracles or the idea of miracles because they're rare. So we authenticate the miracles that we know about using science. It's never miracles versus science, or how can we live with miracles in a world of science. We're starting with the wrong question. Science is a tool that we use to learn about the world around us. Testing it, researching it, and studying it. Science is a good thing because it helps us to see more of creation that God has gifted us. And we don't need to be afraid of science, because science helps to reveal more of the unbelievable, miraculous universe that our God has created. So, when we talk about miracles today, we're presuming that there is a God, and evidence for God is something that we've talked about in previous weeks, so I'm not going to talk about that today. However, even if you took God out of the picture altogether, things like the creation of the universe and the statistical impossibility of Earth or life existing at all are still unexplainable miracles. Even without God, miracles undeniably have happened. But who gets to decide whether a natural law, like something coming out of nothing, can or can't be broken? Now, when we talk about miracles, often the first thing people say is like some natural laws are unchangeable, and this cannot become this, it's impossible. Who decided that truth? Who set that in stone? And if we have enough evidence to say that that has changed into that, well, maybe that is exactly the answer to the question of whether or not it can happen. And if there are recorded events in history where these laws are broken, perhaps there is a creator of those natural laws who did it for a very specific purpose. And if we look at miracles scientifically, which is not ruling out the possibility of God, which all good, non-biased research should do, considering all options, then a divine author starts actually making the best sense. Rare, seemingly impossible events that cannot have happened, and yet they have happened. And knowing that God created these miracles isn't about just getting a sort of answer for them, but it gives those miracles a beautiful purpose. So why are there miracles? When miracles happen, only God knows how he did it, but he always gives us why he did it. Take the turning of water into wine, or in my case, take the turning of coffee into wine. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to try to turn this coffee into wine. And not because I don't think that God could do it, but because if he did do it, it'd be way too distracting for me in this message. Still coffee. But John chapter 2 tells the story of when Jesus, his mum and his disciples go to a wedding in Cana. It's one of the most famous stories of Jesus. And something disgraceful happens at that wedding, disgraceful in that particular culture for the hosts. They run out of wine. And from verse 7 it says, Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water." So they filled them to the brim. And he told them, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." And so they did. And then the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine. He didn't realize where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. Then he called the bridegroom aside and said, "Everybody brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had a lot to drink. But you have saved the best wine until now." And what Jesus did here in Cana of Galilee was the first of the signs through which he revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. Now, the chemical compound of water, H2O, cannot become the chemical compound of wine without adding grapes and fermenting them and whatever. Just the water in a glass, or in this case a jar, just turning into wine, the chemical compound changing. It breaks the laws of nature, things that can't be changed in our environment. It can't happen. And yet, it did. We know it did because this story was written and people were still alive when it was written. It would have been shut down quickly by all of the people that were at that wedding if it wasn't true. And we know because the story isn't embellished like legends and myths that were written in the same era. We know that this story happened because writers opposed to Christianity talk about the wonders of Jesus and the things that he performed, the miracles that happened around him. And we know that because miracles made people want to kill Jesus. So why would Jesus keep doing them? And we know because if it was supposed to be a spectacle for a show, if he was some sort of magician, Jesus wouldn't have kept telling people to stay quiet and don't tell anybody about what's happened today whenever he performs a miracle on someone. So only God knows how he changed the water into wine. We don't know how H2O became wine that day. Only that God did it. How? We don't know. It's a miracle. But the significance of the miracle isn't in the how. It's in the why. Because that water being turned into wine on a small scale saved the hosts of the wedding from a dishonor and instead changed that into an even greater honor by it being an even better wine than what was planned. And deeper than that, this miracle launched the whole ministry of Jesus into action by revealing his divinity to his disciples. It had this glorious purpose. And if we get distracted by how did water become wine, sometimes that can take away from the whole point of God performing a miracle for a purpose. The why, like most miracles, was to authenticate a message or a messenger of God, so that people knew that what that person had to say was divinely inspired. It authenticated them. They can trust the words of an authentic miracle worker because it has to be God working with them, because there's no other way for the miracle to have happened. The miracle tells them to listen in. It was less about how did Jesus turn water into wine, and more about if Jesus can turn water into wine, what does Jesus have to say? And that is the why. So another question that often comes up is, could miracles just be a coincidence? Is it miracles or is it just a coincidence? And I've been talking about what scripture would call signs and wonders. There's a distinction that I'd really like to make between two kinds of miracles. The first kind is the water into wine. The walking on the lake without sinking. Impossible. Bodies of water being separated by Elijah, Elisha, and of course Moses, parting the seas. These breaking the natural laws miracles are impossible without it being a work of God. It would be like, for example, a modern day it'd be a huge surprise car bill all of a sudden jumping up on you, and you can't pay it. It's $1,000 bill, and your bank account, your money's coming in later or whatever, and you've got no money to pay it, and it needs to be paid today. And you need to pay it immediately, but you don't have the funds. Then and you're praying, you're saying, God, I ask like for $1,000 to, I need the money today. And then out of thin air, 10 crisp, $100 bills manifest themselves and float gently down onto the table in front of you as you pray and you watch. So it's impossible for money to just appear out of thin air, literally. These are particularly rare miracles and could never have a how for them. But the second kind of miracle is what I like to call a providence miracle. And these are where God works within the bounds of those good, very good laws of nature that he created. And even though it's so unlikely that it would happen, and it's clearly God because it's a result of a need or prayer. And skeptics would say that these providence miracles are down to some unrealistic chance. This would be like Daniel not being eaten by lions in the den in Daniel 6. It's super unlikely that he wouldn't get eaten by lions that have been starved and that are very familiar with what I like to call people food. But it's not impossible, technically, for the lions to not want to eat him. Nonetheless, we know that it was God. That there's a clear why behind that miracle. And putting it down to chance seems even more unbelievable than putting it down to a God that wanted to redeem and save Daniel for a purpose. That's providence. And in 1 Kings 17, there's a drought that lasts for years. And at the start, Elijah says that when he commands the rain to come, it will. And years pass, no rain. And then on a clear sky, hot day, Elijah prayed for rain. And you guessed it, big black clouds start rolling in and it rains. Now, the likelihood of it happening right after Elijah prayed for rain is ridiculous. It's so clearly from God. Even though it could technically just be the luckiest call ever. And just after years on the day that he prayed, when he said that it would take him praying for rain to come, then rain comes. Like minuscule chance, but it's God working within the laws that he's created. And in our $1,000 bill example, it would be praying and then a rich stranger knocks on your door and gives you $10, $100 notes because God told them to. And somebody could say like, oh, it was chance that he happened to knock on your door and give you $1,000. You know, that's not a miracle. That's what we know is a miracle. It's the exact amount that you needed. And it happened right as you prayed. And the odds of that happening are next to none. It's a providence. It's clearly God working. It's clearly God working within the laws that he created. And you know that it's God working within his creation. And with the new study of quantum mechanics, our understanding of the universe on a molecular level has made our understanding of the whole world around us, it's made it even more complex. And miracles are even more aligned with science. Remember, it's not miracles versus science. All science is doing is proving that God has made the world serviceable for his works from the very beginning. Now, he's been laying the path for the greatest story ever made. And it's a story that he's been writing since the very first miracle, which was creation, and a story that God wants us to be a part of, even today. Bringing me to, do miracles happen today? Christ followers believe beyond doubt that miracles do happen. And a Christian researcher, Dr. Craig Keener, critically investigated miracle claims from around the world in 2011. And 200 million people, that's 1 in every 35 people around the world at the time, had experienced an extraordinary event unacquainted for by modern science understandings and in direct response to prayer. 1 in 35 people had experienced a miracle. However, if every prayer for a miracle was answered, it would be chaos. And God's plan to gently woo us towards him would be distracted by the certainty of him. And I'm not going to pretend to know why miracles don't happen every time we ask, because I don't know. But we know that the end of the story is that God is unraveling slowly is one filled with restoration. And the Gospels record Jesus performing at least 19 healings and even bringing people back to the dead. And even the people that he brought back to life from death aren't still alive today. And that's because it was never a show of how good the healed were, but how good the healer was. It's about our relationship to Jesus, not the miracles that he performs. And sometimes the miracle is performed by counselors or doctors, and sometimes the miracle is yet to come when Jesus returns to heal all of creation. And Revelations 21 shows us this, saying, "Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes, and there will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away." And that is our hope. For now, we can lean into God, listen, and choose to be the divine providence that somebody else needs. And God loves it when we talk to him and ask for things. And he especially loves it when we remind him that we love him and offer ourselves to be used in his story. And how he uses us often doesn't happen how we would expect, or sometimes even how we would like. And if I was asked to give somebody $1,000, even if I was rich, some random stranger, putting myself in the shoes of the person driving past, the stranger, and God asking me like, hey, I should pull over and give this person $1,000, I'd be hesitant, to say the least. And it's easy to put ourselves into the shoes of the person receiving the miracle. But God can use you as the miracle for others just as often. And sometimes even the smallest of acts, like shouting someone's coffee or being the first to apologize after such a long time, or taking that left turn to go visit your grandma on the way home. It's those little things that end up being miracles in people's lives. And we so often don't need a huge show of power to be a miracle for somebody. And we can bring God to the people in our lives without a show of power. Instead, with a show of kindness, of faith and choice. And we might not know how we knew to help somebody, but we know why we helped them. That's clear. The moment that they say with tears in their eyes, I really needed this. So lean into God and listen closely for how you can be the miracle that somebody else needs this week. May God bless you, and may you bless others. Love you.
I searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. Man's empty praise and treasures that fade are never enough. Then you came along and put me back together. desire is now satisfied here in your love. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you've seen them all, and you still call me friend. 'Cause the God of the mountain is the God of the valley. There's not a place your mercy and grace won't find me again. There's nothing, oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn grace. You turn grace into gardens. You turn roads into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you.
So good, Jacob. I knew you'd nail it. And I absolutely love that challenge. Let's think about how we can be the miracle to others this week and lean into those small whispers of the Holy Spirit. We never know who needs it or even who's been praying for it. So amazing. Well, it's been fun. I mean, it would be more fun if Jacob was here, but you know, it's still been awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us here. And for those of you in a life group, enjoy unpacking this topic further with your peeps this week. And if you want to be in a life group and you're not yet, it's okay. We've got you sorted. Head to the Connect with Us at the link and we'll hook you up. So we'll see you next Sunday, 10 a.m. for Church at Home.
When I look back, I can see your hand all over my past. Even in the times I'd rather forget, I just can't believe you'd love me like that, love me like that. You never let go. Thought with you. Oh, you're my hope forever. What a beautiful view. I will give you praise for the things you've done, and every single way that you've shown me love. God, you have only just begun. So come on, there's so much better to come. So much better to come. So much better to come. When I look back, I can see your hand all over my past. Even in the times I'd rather forget, I just can't believe